How's everyone enjoying the conference? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Good. You guys had fun last night. Do I have a clicker? You have a passing the baton. Thank you. No, I hope to do as well as you did. Thank you. All right. So, um, maybe while we're getting started with the slides. So, hi everyone. My name is Ashley Sharettes. I am Prudential's first director of generative AI. And you all are probably, yeah, what up? Okay. Um, I think you're all going to find out very clearly that I'm probably not your average financial marketer. That's because I didn't start in financial services at all. I have a background in healthcare marketing as well as travel and tourism. And I even did a little bit of construction, if you can believe that. And it was a really great road to get here. But my background really is in marketing, digital, as well as employer brand. And through all of this, I have now learned to speak human and machine at the same time. Pretty crazy, right? I am now supporting approximately 400 marketers with their generative AI needs. That means that we all are trying to move faster. We're trying to do things better. We're trying to enhance our performance. And then ultimately, we really want to create better outcomes for our advisors that are positioning our products, as well as the consumers that are with us as well. But this doesn't happen overnight. We're a 150-year-old organization, and we secured a lot of support from our leaders to do this. So without them, we would not be able to do this, and I would not be in this role, quite frankly. So it's been a wonderful journey, and I'm really excited to share more about what we're going to do today. To showcase first and foremost, I think for many of you, if you have worked in a large organization, complexity is here. It's all on a slide, quite frankly. I work on the marketing side, but I have many partners that I'm working with all the time. So I have technologists, I have developers, I also have partners that you're going to meet very shortly, but privacy, security, legal, risk, all of those fun teams, I'm the person that's being the liaison to have a discussion with them a time or two, especially as we think about bringing in new technology and new capabilities that impacts our customers. So I want to play a quick game. Hopefully you guys are all woken up, but I'm going to make sure you guys are woken up anyway. So if you could all stand up, please. I played a game as a child. It was one of my favorite games ever. It was called Never Have I Ever. Has anyone ever played that game? Yes? All right. Okay. So the goal is to be the last person standing, but be honest, no lying. Okay? Okay. So I'm going to say the statement, and you all have to sit down if it applies to you. Okay? You ready? Never have I ever spilled coffee on my shirt before a big meeting. I did that. Yes. Okay, we have honest folks. I've done that. I should be sitting already. Never have I ever sent an email to the wrong person. Wow. You are my people. I love this already. Never have I ever had to rewrite a marketing piece multiple times to meet compliance requirements. That's right. Sit your you-know-what down. No, I'm just kidding. Never have I ever struggled to measure the ROI of a marketing campaign. Oh, I thought I was really excited to hand this over to someone to do my presentation. Oh, darn it. But those are some of the challenges that we all have, right? And truthfully, it doesn't get easier with AI, but it can. And that's what I'm here to share with all of you today. Hopefully you get my point. I am obsessed with this concept that marketing really can't go fast unless content delivery becomes that engine. And even if you write AI content, it's still not that fast. It has to get approved by everyone, compliance, legal, risk. If it has tax in it, it goes to a special SME inside Prudential to review tax documentation. Who would have thought, right? And before I was in this role as Director of Generative AI, I was Director of Digital Marketing for Prudential Advisors. So advisors were my people. They still are my people. I love them. It was the best place to start my career in financial services because you're learning about the business, and I was part of the business. And so it was just a great way to get my feet wet. and understand what some of the challenges are and what they will be. But back to the topic at hand. I am obsessed with this idea that really we can write really great content, but if you can't deliver it, it doesn't make any sense to the customer. Like ultimately, no one is going to see your message. So I actually asked ChatGPT to illustrate this point, and I said, how many times is content marketing mentioned compared to marketing operations? And what we found was for every one-time content, marketing operations was mentioned, content marketing was mentioned 16 times more. So it was a really interesting outline for me because the content creation piece and is sexy, right? Everyone enjoys that piece. But for us at Prudential, we're actually looking at the entire content supply chain. And I'm going to show you a couple use cases in a few minutes to really outline what we're doing. And truly, we're just getting started. We are chipping away at how we go to market and help our marketers become better marketers and enhance our overall performance. Put more plainly, these are the phases, my perspective, of AI within an enterprise organization. Maybe you're using ChatGPT Enterprise, maybe you're using Claude, so on and so forth. There's a ton of tools, just exploded with all of these things. But you're really starting with outside platforms. They're not really integrated. They don't talk to one another. It's none of those things that are happening. But then something happens and you're like, oh, this does not need to feel like AI anymore. How do we actually get it better into our workflow? Well, the answer is you're doing it through the tools that you're using. So one of the tools we use is Writer. So in addition to Writer, having a browser platform that we can log into via SSO, we also have a Chrome extension. We also have an Edge extension. We have a Figma plugin. We have a ton of things that we're using. So Writer for us is a core, I call it our LLM of record, nod to my agency folks. And then last but not least, we have the agentic side. And you're probably like, whoa, 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 wait, I just started with AI. We're talking agentic now? This is crazy. But I'm going to show you that with the right partners and the right problems to focus on, you can do this too. So, do you want to build an agent? Does anyone have an agent? No, not yet? Okay, I don't either. I just told someone I wanted to build my own agent just to prove to myself that I could do it. But when we think agents, we think scary pictures. Like Terminator's coming, it's going to take my job, it's going to do my work, all these things. But I can tell you that you need to think of this as a beautiful path illuminated with flowers. Why not? And it's a standard process today with maybe a little bit of AI, maybe you're using a little bit of Writer to create your content. But what agentic does is it actually decreases the amount of steps to help you get there. That feels a little bit more personal, approachable. I hope it does for all of you as well. This is the first time using this analogy. I hope it makes sense. But also, if you notice, it's less steps, so you can actually stop and smell the roses. So another slide, another phone-worthy slide. I love that you guys are taking pictures of my stuff. This is great. The framework in which we use for this, specifically for the agentic side. So I'm moving past generative AI, just to be clear with everyone. When you think about the process that you have today, it's not just about the tools. If there's one thing that you get from this presentation, it has to be about the process itself, because AI is going to help collapse some of those areas. You guys feel me? You feel me? Raise your hand so I understand. Okay, I love it. That's great. Yeah. So that's why I also marked it a different color, quite frankly, too, because it is really important. Everyone thinks, oh, I need new tools. No, you need to reimagine the process. I'll also say that when it came to the alignment piece, we actually needed to focus on our most senior leaders and get their perspective. But then we also had to interview the actual folks that would be using these platforms, understand what their current challenges were, focus on what they wanted to get out of it, but then also have that leadership buy-in to say, you need to use this. And I know that that is probably a big kind of hello, I understand, and I've been there, done that moment. But what I will tell you is that, thank you, is that it's more than just saying we made this. Now you have to go market it. You have to have your teams use it. And so we, even though we do follow Agile, we do take an approach where we create something, we build the MVP with the bare minimum items and requirements that we need. We get it out into the world, showcase the baby to the world, and then they tell us, is the baby ugly? And that's really how we are working this. I don't make ugly babies, if anyone was curious. So all that being said, it is this iterative process, and we're constantly focusing on making improvements everywhere we go. In this case, I was most interested, and this is actually one of the first projects I ever worked on. So using Adobe Generate Variations. Is we have an Adobe shop here? Anyone an Adobe shop? Raise hands. Okay, we got a few. Okay. So for those of you that are using Salesforce or other big MarTech, that's okay. But Adobe has this product called Generate Variations. At the time, it was built on OpenAI. You could generate new content. It was great. It actually helped us streamline our workflow. We actually created content and created a page in hours versus days. Like, let's be real, probably would be a week and a half too, to be honest. And then most importantly, we had 135% engagement rate from that new page. We were able to create content super fast, get it out there in the world, and then see the results. But we knew that we had to do more. And I presented on that, that particular use case and some examples and those wins there because it was powered by AEM. It was also powered by Adobe Target, which is their A/B testing and personalization platform. But we wanted to take it the next step further. And that is, how do we actually use AI to deliver the content? So this is focusing on the content delivery piece. We are using AEP, which is all of the segments and data, but ultimately we wanted AI to work and deliver the content. So we had the content built from Writer, it's being ported into AEM, and then now deliver it. So with this auto target feature from Adobe now, it's a 50-50 whether or not it works. Some companies it does work well. For us it does. We're still in the middle of testing it, but what I can tell you is that we don't have to worry about the segmentation as much because it is this full loop circle. We have folks checking, making sure that our campaigns are performing, obviously making enhancements, but then also a learning along the way. So this is a good example because there's AI already baked into your tools already. You don't have to go and buy something, but understand what the roadmap is with your current providers for your website. Now, this one is really interesting because we live and die, quite frankly, by the creative brief. We have 400 marketers. They're the ones that are being inspired every day, working with our agencies. And by the way, when I say marketer, I am lumping in a term that is designers, copywriters. They're all kind of doing a number of things, but they're very specialized in their craft. But when it comes to the creative brief piece, there are good creative briefs and there's not so great creative briefs. And so this was the most painful process for us just because we don't have true consistency. We also don't have documented best practices, and it's really done in pockets. So we're using AI right now through the Writer platform to standardize what that looks like, to have clearer outputs. I even used AI to analyze what makes a good brief versus makes a bad brief, which was really interesting. And we're taking all that information and we're training it. And we're using it to create these really dynamic briefs across the 5 business lines that we support. I'm listing the inputs there because I think it's important that you all need to know data is your friend. You're going to still need data. We actually use Writer's RAG technology, retrieval augmented generation. That's what that means. And I call it on demand because we're loading it and then it's pulling in that information as someone is creating a brief. We've seen really good results so far. People are excited to use it. And it's a little bit of UX in addition to the actual deployment of the agent itself. So be mindful that the partners that you're using, or if you are deploying a new agent, yeah, you can have a context window and ask someone to fill it out and give me a quick prompt, but we're trying to take it a step further to really help the user. Because as much as we say that we all love AI, the user still needs a little bit of help, and so that's what we're working on today. And lastly, um, the most painful part of our content delivery is something that we've done to ourselves, and that is we need to create the content, then we need to upload it to a content management system, CMS. Adobe is ours, we use AEM, but it can sometimes take an exceptionally long time, especially when you have multiple versions of the same page, when you need to change out multiple, we call them experience fragments or components. So we have a whole design system that has over 300 design elements that we're using today. And Gradial is a platform that enables marketing teams to automate content operations. So think like you have to edit a component across 300 pages. Yes, that is a real thing for us. It can't always be done in an experience fragment. So Gradials, imagine putting in a prompt and saying, hey, can you find all the places that this component lies? Have it bring it to you in just a matter of seconds, and then say, okay, now change it. Saving hours and hours and hours of time to the point where we don't need to use our offshore resources. One other thing, when I think about agentic AI, it's about doing more with the same. So not cutting, but doing more with the same. Maybe we're not hiring as many people, but I do think that we are able to do more. So imagine Gradial or having a platform like that to help you with your content operations. We have 8,000 pages that we need to manage, so that really made a lot of sense for us. And I have a video to show the results because I also want to talk about other metrics that are important and how to think about your own metrics when you're measuring your content supply chain needs. So with a little bit of help, it might work. Do you do it or do I do it? Thank you. So that's Gradial. I made that video myself with Microsoft Stream. If you have Microsoft 365, you probably have Microsoft Stream and Clipchamp. Music is theirs, all those things. And that is, I call it the sizzle reel because it is very sizzly, like the sizzler. Okay. And so that was used to showcase to our leadership how well it performed. But we didn't do that alone. So within our AEM, our Adobe ecosystem, we actually also have Workfront. Workfront gives us all the information on the request of content authoring, what's the SLA, how long did it take time to fulfill, all of those things. And so I wanted to note that measurement is hard. That's probably the hardest part about this whole thing. But if you know the problem and you know what success looks like, You have to fill in the gap with what, statistically speaking, will show the value. I made a business case for Gradial. Every AI product, AI capability that we're thinking about, we always make a business case. Our business case was not only the enhance the productivity, but what if you all could do one more campaign a year? What would that do to your bottom line? Think about that. We also looked at how difficult it is to get out into market. So for us, I'm not even joking when I tell you 14 different workflows and about 8 weeks to get a campaign from start to finish. Again, multi-channel, okay, but to be honest, a lot of folks are like, oh, I'm not ready yet. I still need to do the landing page. The landing page was like the last thing that the person would worry about, which is pretty crazy because that's everything. If you can't convert on your landing page, that's a really big problem. So Gradial streamlines all of that for us, and we're really quickly able to understand, is the campaign working? It also works really well for personalization. So I've already told my Gradial friends that if they could literally just say, hey, I want to now change the content of this page and make it for this type of audience, give them the pain points, give them a demographic, even pull in some context additionally. Those type of ideas is what they're looking for, and they're already saying, yeah, we really need to do this. So you could change your content and have it ready for new segments at any time. It's always that on-demand model. And so I believe that you all can do this too. Chip away at it. You know I showed the steps before, but then I was like, well, maybe I'll show a tree and someone like chopping some wood. That's kind of how I felt that this would be. Take one part of your content supply chain that is challenging to everybody. Look for mass scale, like what is going to impact your people. The the creative brief thing, that was a big deal. The content authoring thing, that's another big impactful deal for everyone because we all struggle, all five businesses, to get their pages up and running. And to put a fine point on this, the problem is always where you start. Don't start with the product. Make sure that that is something that you can focus on. I would also say, too, that the problem needs to be gut checked with your leadership as well, because people thought I was crazy when I was like, because I sat in the business. Remember, I was part of Prudential Advisors. I said, gosh, if we had that, it would be amazing. We could get content out so quickly. It would be wonderful, this and that. And they didn't get it. And then now, when I went back to the businesses and I said, hey, what do you think about this? They're like, yes, because it also unlocks self-serve for our team. So instead of everyone going to one centralized content authoring team, they now can use it across the businesses, and we can teach others how to do it as well. So a lot of potential there. We're not quite there yet, but it's all important things. And I did not have enough time to add in some more content for you because I was not sure how long I was going to go, and I want to leave time for questions. But change management is also a big aspect of this. We treat our AI capabilities as products, like we're marketing to our internal users. I create videos with Microsoft 365, Clipchamp, and Microsoft Stream. I also have a lot of, I would say, platform meetings and conversations. I even have a user group. I call it our writer user group call because we have all 400 of our users on there. We're learning new best practices and things. Staying close to your users is probably the best thing that you all can do if you're in my role. But then if you are a standard marketer and you're trying to learn new AI, just use it. Tinker with it. Get permission to tinker, and then just have fun with it. And so with that, I'd like to ask, does anyone have any questions? Yes.
Thank you. This was really good. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
So you spoke at the beginning about what's the team structure or resources you need to actually implement this, and what's like teams that help you out.
Yeah.
And then what teams have helped you adopt it, because I think that's what you mentioned at the end.
Yeah, great question. I'm actually going to go all the way back to that slide, and let's see if it'll let me do that. I think that's helpful. I wanted to get to the case studies because I know those are really interesting. I love that Terminator guy. That makes my day. So this slide. So we have technology teams that we partner with. We have legal risk. We also have what we call as responsible AI. So we have a process now internally that when we have these new capabilities, either we're building them in-house or we're buying them. Clearly, you can see that we're buying some. We actually put them through this process, and it is reviewed by our responsible AI team. They want to understand the use case. They want to understand what things are trained with, if that's applicable. They want to understand what are some of the security features that are offered, those types of things. We don't do anything until they approve it. And then there's this whole process around how we test it and show success and all of those types of things. From a team perspective, I am a individual contributor. So I am the first Gen AI person specifically for Prudential advisors, for Prudential, not Prudential advisors anymore, although I help them. And I'm the one that's now helping everyone adopt some sort of AI. I kind of consider myself more of a subject matter expert as well as an evangelist, but then I also work with everybody else's teams to get them to adopt it. So I'm not the AI queen. I don't own AI. I'm kind of the practitioner and subject matter expert, but I'm the hype woman. I'm the one getting everyone excited to help them understand what their own ultimately like what their own use cases are, and then help them get it through the process. Is that helpful? Good. Any other questions? Behind you.
What's your approach to building the business case to justify the investment in these platforms? Like, how do you how do you figure out what the incremental return? How do you justify that investment?
Yeah. Oh, that is a fantastic point to bring up. So, it's based upon the use case. So, I'll take it back and I'll say our first official AI product that we brought in from a production perspective was Writer. Writer at the time, they've done a lot since then, but they are a content generation platform that ultimately is trained on brand guidelines and style guides and editorial standards and all these things, so we can keep content very consistent. They're very well known in the finance and healthcare space. So for that in particular, we actually did an audit of how much content we're creating, how much content we need to repurpose, how much content there is in general, and said, okay, well, let's try this for email. Let's try this for social. We actually went very specific on the channel and then said, okay, from an intake perspective, if we could actually decrease the amount of time that we're spending on derivative content or creating new content, what does that look like? We actually surveyed the users. So we started with a baseline survey and said, how much time are you usually spending on creating these items, these pieces of collateral? And then we said, okay, did Writer make it better? How much time are you saving now using generative AI? And through that survey, it was only 20 people, so we got really good results. People responding and saying, oh yeah, I saved 80% of my time just generating a first draft. I gave it a really good prompt, so it actually gave it to me, right away. I only make a couple of tweaks, like those types of things. So we got really specific in how we measured. That's Writer. The Gradial conversation was more about the intake. So we went through Workfront. We said, okay, how many requests are we getting for content changes a year? And then there was also some big ones. So that last one, I don't know, I know it's kind of fast, but the last one, when we turned 150, we had over 1,200 places on the website that needed to be updated because we had 145, 145 plus, 140, all of these places, if you can imagine. It was a content authoring nightmare. And we said to our partners, we said, how long did it take you to find all of these items or all these areas? And they said, 10 hours plus easily. And then we did the same scenario, same use case with Gradial. And that's how we found 10 hours to 10 minutes. Is that helpful? So you have to get creative. If you have a statistician on your team, that's fine. I am not. But really, for us, we're highly matrixed, so I have a group of individuals that I'm working with, and we're really just sharing ideas to prove the value. I love that question. Thank you. Yes?
What's the headcount between marketing ops, What's the head count between marketing operations, marketing, creative services, and brand?
Yeah, so that's including the 400.
Oh, 400.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
And 7,000 to 8,000 web pages, exclamation mark, head hits the table.
So okay, so I'll tell you why. Prudential not only markets to like obviously advisors because we are a product manufacturer, but we also market to consumers. We are a very heavy consumer brand. I don't think there's anyone that doesn't know Prudential, especially if you live in this area. But with respect to the pages on Pru.com, we actually have about 4,000 of them are advisor pages. So we did that for SEO purposes. So every advisor has a page. It also gives them credibility if they're reaching out into their local community market. And I actually owned that in my prior role in Prudential Advisors. So about 50% are advisor pages, which is why it's so big. There's one right here. I guess we'll take one more. Is that okay? Good. Thank you.
Do you ever have experience where like the AI products you adopt don't work as well as you expected? And how would you address that? Just stop using it, or like how do you make improvements?
Yeah. I think if we go through the process of bringing them on, we definitely owe it to them to see how we can make modifications and make it more useful. We pilot or POC everything. So to the process question that you had earlier, we are focusing on, okay, well, like let's test it first. So for instance, from a creative standpoint, we actually use Runway, or we have used Runway in the past. And some folks are, in fact, creating videos with Runway. Runway is a video generation platform. It's used by a lot of filmmaking companies and those types of things. But what we found, for instance, was that, yes, it was a cool tool to have in our tool belt, but we actually made a decision to actually go more agency with the video platforms, right? So for us, that to me, that was like, okay, we had it, we tested it, it was great, but then we made a business decision to change it. For other tools that are not working, that's why it's so important to measure. If we have low adoption, so for Writer in particular, we're sitting pretty steady at an 80% adoption rate, but we're also looking to do more. So that's standard, by the way. Like if you're at 80% adoption for a new AI tool, you're actually doing pretty well. But I want to get it to 100. I want people to get excited about what we're doing. And then last but not least, education. I've had a lot of questions lately about Copilot versus Writer, and Copilot's being rolled out. But I need to have conversations with the teams to have them understand, why is Writer better? Well, it has better brand guidelines. It has our do say and don't say words. It's laced with some compliance terminology. All of those things are really important to our copywriters. So really reinforcing, kind of like marketing a product in this case, that's how I would ultimately change it. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right? You know, unfortunately, with technology, sometimes things have to get phased out. Yeah. Thank you. I'll be here for a couple minutes if you guys want to say hi. Thank you so much.